Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of Your Replays. They want to have a look at the Vickers CR and the Leopard PTA, both played by 8Apple or 84 PPLE. So, this thing is great. This is an absolutely amazing tank. Now, why is that? First of all, it does have good HE rounds, it does have 10 degrees of gun depression, it has absolutely excellent mobility, it basically has a tier 10 gun, and it does have some armor as well. And the thing about light tanks and World Tanks Blitz is that they don't really exist. Like, in World Tanks PC, you have the clear distinction of, okay, light tanks meant for spotting, medium tanks meant for doing everything. In Blitz, that's not the case. Light tanks do still have the camo rating while moving bonus, whereas you keep your camo rating if you're moving with the light tank, which is nice. It does make up for the, most of the time, lack of armor. However, as we'll see later, the Leopard PTA doesn't have any armor either, yet it doesn't have the spotting thing. So, there's that. Light tanks and Blitz don't really make a lot of sense. What tanks are light tanks don't really make sense either, because the Batchat, for example, is a medium tank in real life as well. So, anyway, what is important with these tanks is that, especially at this tier where the alpha damage start to get higher and FE 2 and 5B 183 start cropping up, you know how to play this kind of thing. And this is perfect how to play this vehicle, right? You always want to isolate tanks and fight them one by one. If you start fighting multiple tanks at the same time, you have a problem that you shouldn't ever get into. Now this Icy here, he shot into the dirt, peeking there. You can bait him, but just make sure you don't get hit, because if you do get hit, that could be technically 1,000 damage if he does hit your hull. Let's go forward a bit here, and excellent driving right there. So go back to the other side of the map, and that is what is so great about vehicles like this. You can just move wherever you want to be, and you can use the HE into the rear of heavy tanks. And if you see that, if you look at the minimap and you see, okay, all the enemies are here, but they're looking there, then you can get behind them and can farm a lot of damage. And that is 3 shots into that Tiger without the Tiger turning. So that is very, very good there. Now, the enemy team is now in the allied spawn, which is not great. And the team hasn't really achieved anything. Now, generally on this side, you don't really want to be on there. And generally, people that do go to this side, like heavy tanks, they tend to be bad players. So you can either avoid going there, or if you're very excellent players, farm the noobs. So 3 versus 4. It's not good. The hit points on them are also not good. However, the Vickers CR does have one massive advantage up on all those tanks. It's pretty damn fast. Now, what you would want to do here, ideally, is again, either isolate one tank or figure out the tank that is the easiest to kill. And it is not really looking good. This is supremacy of all modes, which is bad because they're almost at 900 points. They're at 2 bases, and it is a 1 versus 4. This is unwinnable, right? However, if you play this thing properly, you can still get down to it, and obviously if the enemy throws away. If the enemies now play together and, you know, have coordination, then it is a very easy win for them. However, as you will see, they do not. And the Vickers CR does have a surprising amount of armor here. Now, ideally what you want to do, you need a kill here. You need a kill. The supremacy points require a kill right here to reset that, to get the points back. And there we go. Now the 112 somehow bounces, and obviously for a game like this, you do need a certain degree of luck. There is no other way around that. So is this still winnable? Well, 6,000 damage done right here, and the points are creeping up. If this would be a regular battle, it would be a lot easier to deal with, which is why I hate Supremacy that much. It's just a horrible mode, and the points just add an extra factor that you do not want to deal with. And pretty much, at this point, he has to get this guy killed very, very quickly. If it doesn't happen, it is still lost despite the colossal effort of 7,200 damage. Now, unfortunately, that does not pen. Now the points are high enough that it will no longer be recoverable. And despite 7,500 damage, the enemies do hit 1,000 points. And useless, this team absolutely was. I mean, look at that. Nobody did over 1,000 damage. The enemy KPZ played really well, and despite 7,500 damage, lost to the clock. But the game was played perfectly. The team was absolutely unacceptably horrible. Now, let's get into the second one. And man likes to have bad teams, because it's gonna happen again. So, now, in the Leopard PTA, you don't have the gun depression that you do have in the Vickers. You also don't have the concealment that you do have in the Vickers, which means you have to be a lot more careful, and it is undoubtedly a worse vehicle. So, you've got a very similar gun, but you do have significantly worse stats on this tank. Now, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's just still sitting there peeking. Now that is a person that does not have a sense of self-preservation and does not have any idea of how the game even remotely works. However, 8apple does have a pretty good idea because he's shooting that bush, and that's another thing that you can use is if you know where the tank destroyers happen to be most of the time, you can just blind fire them, and because if you hit a vehicle, their camera rating decreases, which means if you blind shot someone, they're likely to get spotted as well, which is nice. Now T-34 has 10 degrees of gun depression. He can get his gun down here, so you gotta reverse out of there. And now we got a T-49 as a support here. Still don't know where the rest of the enemies are. There could be a T-95 right back there, so you want to be careful here. But now, we know. Alright. You might even know where the Tiger is. We know where the T-95 is, so we'll find out. And we can essentially... Oh, he can. I'm just watching. We can push that AT. There we go. Now, this is crucial. Obviously, not every game is going to be like this. You cannot expect to play well every game. You cannot expect every game to go your plan. Right? That is another very important thing to know about Blitz, is that you cannot ever expect the game to go in your favor. However, if it does, you gotta know how to use it. There's the T-95, and there's the Arctiga. And they're all at a distance, they're not looking at him, and that is exactly what you want to have in a vehicle like this. You want your team to be the one fighting the enemy, and then you're in a position where you don't have to bother with things like armor, because no one's aiming at you anyway. And the ML is now aiming, though, so that's unfortunate. But it is already 4.5k damage right here, which is insane. So, ML again, he's just standing there. This is what you need, ideally, to get a really good game. You need enemies with no sense of self-preservation, that just sit there in a bad position and do not get away. Like, I thought humans are like a species that has a sense of self-preservation, you know, you want to keep yourself alive and things like that. But watching Blitz, that's simply not true. Some people are simply too dumb to live. And luckily breathing is automated. Just, anyway. Yeah, 5.5k is set here, but he's got a blind shot as well. It's over 6.5k damage. And this game is a lot better than last time. Let's get over there. Now the team's still not great. But the good thing is, the worse your team, the more likely you are to do high damage. Because then your team can't steal your damage. That's what you want. You want to have a bad team and a slightly worse enemy team. And then, farming time is a great time. So, be careful. Look at the enemy map, understand the teams, and you'll be golden and get games like this. Thank you for watching. Bye.